and JR. I know the team took a little time off at the holidays, and I know obviously you had the game canceled, postponed right before that. You had the good win against Utah. You played well against Arizona. How tough was it to maybe not have another chance to keep that momentum rolling before you went into a little holiday break?
Yeah, it was very, very disappointing, especially because if we could have just waited a few more hours and gotten all the negative results, which they were all negative, and played the game. So it was disappointing for a lot of reasons. One, like you said, because we feel like we're playing really good basketball. Against Utah, we played really well. Against Arizona, we felt really good about how we played for the most part, minus the poor free throw shooting, which doomed us at the end. We wanted that other opportunity to play against Arizona State. So, but it sort of is what it is. Like we were just saying, every day is, you kind of got to take it day by day and almost hour by hour sometimes. And so, what a blessing for our players to be able to go home. Honestly, it was so good for them. Just everything that they've been through and really felt like the benefit of that was well worth the potential risk of them them our immediate area. And so we're back now. Today will be our first full practice. Bunch of negative tests between Christmas Day and today. And so we're excited to get to play again.
I was going to ask you about them going home for the holidays. It sounds like, you wanted them to have that mental break, but how much were you, were you kind of crossing your fingers and just kind of hoping for the best when they got back? Obviously, when they're away from you, kind of some things are out of your hands and maybe don't know how that's going to go when they get back.
Well, yeah. So there was a lot that kind of went into that. Initially, we had told them back in, probably September, guys, just heads up, we probably won't be able to go home at Christmas, thinking that at that time there was a mandatory 7-day quarantine when you leave the state of Colorado and come back. And so we had kind of prepared them for that, and then we got word that maybe it doesn't have to be a full 7-day quarantine. It could be, keep everyone separate and do some testing, sort of test into being able to play live basketball again. And so that was a real positive. And to be honest, it just was more important. Another thing too, is if they had stayed here, we're not even allowed to gather, so like when we had them here at Thanksgiving, nobody got to go home, but we weren't even allowed to eat Thanksgiving dinner with them, and so when you're not allowed to do that, they're still going to do something, so what we had discovered was, maybe a couple of them went to Denver and ate together, and so it wasn't even like we could really keep them all together anyway, even if they'd stayed here. And then, just honestly, their overall mental health, like the amount of stress and that all of us have been through, you guys included, it's been very difficult. But when you add the fact that you're 18 to 22 years old and you're trying to do all your classes online and there's so much up and down, and we just really felt like there was nothing more important than them being with their families for a few days. And, when I told the team, I actually told them the night after the Utah game that they could go home, half of them started crying and they just were so happy. And as soon as that happened, it solidified in my mind that it was the right decision. And now we've had a great couple days of training and everyone's feeling very refreshed and rejuvenated and excited. And so I definitely think it was a great choice.
Corey, you want to go ahead?
Okay, thanks. Sorry, I joined a little late, Coach. Good to see you again.
You too.
I'm curious, with the word coming down today that SMU is going to stop all of their basketball on the women's side, and Duke's women's basketball team is also going to not play for the rest of the season. I'm curious, has there been any discussion between you and your staff, you and the players, of any concerns and thoughts of maybe not playing the rest of the season? Do you guys have those kind of concerns out there?
Yeah, no, I actually hadn't heard about SMU yet. Of course, we all heard about Duke already, but no, there hasn't been any discussions. I mean, I personally feel very confident with the protocols and testing in place for the Pac-12 and for our own institution. I mean, I think our department has been pretty cutting edge, since April, on what our athletes have been doing and been allowed to do in the protocols. I know Miguel Rueda is leads a lot of that for the conference. And so we feel really good about what we're doing. And, but it is, I mean, every day is is a question mark. And that is very difficult, you know, for our student athletes. But no, there has been no discussion about potentially not playing or anything like that.
I think that probably says a lot about the testing. And I've heard this from the football team too. And I kind of get that from, you know, from Tad as well, a little bit of just, you guys feel relatively safe. I
Sure,
mean,
as safe as you can be. I mean, our athletes are literally testing every single day. You know, we wear these little, you can see mine has my name on it. You know, we wear these trackers that tell us, you know, if we're within 6 feet of each other. And I mean, it is crazy. We're in the middle of a pandemic and we're playing basketball, and it's the whole thing is you know, never been done before. But I do feel as safe as possible. I mean, I have a 75-year-old mother that is with us every single day. And if I didn't feel safe about the way we were doing things, I wouldn't be doing it. You know, as far as just my own personal family and my mom and things like that. So no, I feel good about what we're doing, and just keep our fingers crossed every day that we can continue to play.
Yeah, and I know, as you talked about, it's also incumbent on the teams that you are playing to be doing the right thing too. So
yeah, and I think just as a conference, you know, we made it very clear from the beginning. The Pac-12 said, listen, nothing is going to take priority over our student athletes' well-being, and here's some very strict protocols that are more strict than any other, you know, team in the country, and this is what we're going to do to make this work. And so I know that, you know, all of the coaches in our league are very committed to those protocols, and you know, as are we. So.
All right, now a basketball question. You talked about you guys play the way that you practice this year. It seems like if you have a really good practice, you usually play very well, whether it's a win or a loss, but you play well. With the opportunity for them to go home and then come back, and you said you've had a couple of really good days of training. How do you feel coming into this? It's always interesting coming out of a holiday break in any season, but this season in particular, it's going to be interesting to see who's going to get the fast start.
Yeah, it will be interesting. You know, the last couple days of training have all been basically individuals. You know, we've had no contact, no defensive until we got X number of tests and PCR tests under our belt. We were not permitted to go live contact. So we practice here in a couple hours, and it'll be the first time that we really get after it, you know, up and down live. But I just think the emotional lift, you know, in our players for the last couple of days has been evident. And yeah, I mean, we have high expectations for the way that we train every day. And so I think going into practice today, I feel great about it. You know, and I think our team is excited to actually play again.
Thank you, Coach. We'll see you on Friday.
All right, we'll be here.
Pat, you got another one?
Yeah, Coach, last one for me. Just wondering how much of a scouting report you've gotten into for Friday. What does your team have to be X's and O's wise kind of have to be ready for?
Yeah, I mean, the scouting report's already done. Coach Alex had this scout, and so it's prepared. We'll start watching film today. And Washington they're a really good team that plays unbelievably hard. You know, if I had to list the hardest playing teams in the league, you know, no matter win, lose, or draw, that just play their hearts out, Washington would be at the top of that list in this conference. You know, I would put us right up there too. I think we play very hard. So two teams that will really, you know, be aggressive, be tenacious, you know, be all of those things. Friday, they run a ton of different defenses. I think I've seen 8 or 9 different defenses, you know, as we prepare for the scout. So we'll tell our team, don't even try to figure out what they're in, you know, because it'll just slow you down and make you over process. You won't be able to tell anyway, you know, so just basically play basketball, move the ball, be aggressive, look for opportunities to score. And then defensively, they do a great job of spreading people out. They cut really well. They penetrate well, you know, and that's hurt us in the past against Washington. We haven't defended their cutting action as well as we need to. So glad that we have a couple of days to actually prepare, and our team does a good job of really knowing the scout. And, you know, today or Friday, hopefully will be no different.
Thad or Anne-Marie, you got anything?
Hey there.
Hi.
I'm jumping in actually to prepare for next week when you come out to USC. So.
Oh, okay. I don't know a lot about either of those teams yet, other than they're both.
I'm just listening.
Very
and
good.
Happy New Year.
Awesome. Good to see you.
Coach, I'll throw you one. With the postponement of the last game, is it kind of still in the back of the team's head, maybe the way you guys came out against Arizona and then got close, and now you've had a little, there's more extra time with that feeling?
Yeah, I think we're all probably, at least I know for myself and the coaches, we're all still extremely disappointed, in the Arizona game. We thought we played well and, certainly had our chances to win that ball game and didn't do it. So that still stings a little bit. That's why the Arizona State game would have been nice, just to get that sort of salty taste, out of your mouth before you're in it for the long haul. But I think we also know that we are playing really good basketball. I mean, we've played really well the last couple of games and, really doing a great job of executing offensively, defensively. We're defending better, the last couple of games than we have all year. So I think we feel good about, sort of who we are and how we're playing. It's just been a minute, since we've played. So hopefully we'll have a good day of practice today and the next 3 days, and then sort of continue that good feeling into Friday night or Friday afternoon. It's at 3:00.
I do have a question for Coach. I'm driving, so I was kind of trying to not be too disruptive here. Happy holidays, Coach. Good to see you. And wondering, that morning of the Arizona State game, I don't know if I was kind of just curious about how that played out inside your walls of the morning process and the the postponement.
Yeah, I mean, everything was totally normal. We went through scout, pregame meal. The girls were taped. They were ready to play. We were waiting for a couple of test results, PCR test results, which is, they're all pretty accurate, but I think the medical teams have used the PCRs as like a verification, as it's a little bit of a higher percentage of accuracy, I think. And so we were just waiting for those test results. And then, the test results came back negative that evening, but by the time the results had come back, the game had already been postponed and Arizona State had gone home. So wow. I was hopeful that we could have just waited, a few more hours and then played the game, but disappointing to have everyone be negative and ready to play, but the game's gone, especially because there's so much on it. Like, one, for us, it's a home game. We felt really good about how we were playing. You have to have 13 games to make the NCAA tournament. There's so many things that, you need. Every game that can be played, needs to be played. And so that, I think, was what was most disappointing for me. It'd be different if there had been positive tests. Well, that game should not be played. That's, there's positives, and that wasn't the case.
Yeah. Probably kind of interesting. Then everybody just sort of trickled off the break from there, I guess, huh? Just, oh, well.
Yeah, then it was like, okay, well, everybody meet in the locker room. Half of them were already ready for the game, taped and ready to go. And so we just met and basically said, well, the game's been postponed and really sorry, but everybody go home, have a great Christmas and rest up, and we'll see you in a few days. And everybody, we got a break and everybody left and went home.
Yeah. Well, I'm not trying to do the pick your favorite child, kind of challenge here, but having had a little time to reflect on this first phase, pre-break phase of the season, whether it's returning names and the usual suspects on your roster or some of the new faces, not so much who you're most excited about, but I guess just any reflections on your observations now that you had a chance to step back and breathe it a little bit.
No, not really. I mean, I did, like I said, I think we're defending as a team much better than we have, probably in a long time. The last couple of games, we've defended very, very well. Shots are contested. We're rebounding really well. And those types of things. It's just, this is a tough year to have no preseason. We have a handful of new players that needed a preseason, to get into the rotation, to get comfortable within the framework of everything that we're doing. And when you don't have those 10, 11 games, it's very difficult to really have a large rotation when you don't have those games to to get everyone comfortable. So that's been difficult, you know, but we'll continue to try to, you know, get people in where we can, and hopefully that'll continue to grow. What
do you see in Jalen's defense? You know, is it quickness? Is it anticipation?
Both. I would say both. I don't know if she's, now that we've had a game postponed, I don't know if she's still leading the league in steals. I think she was number 7 in the country going into the last game, you know, that didn't happen. But yeah, I mean, I think she's watching way more film. She's always been a great athlete. And last year we talked to her about using that athleticism on the defensive side of the floor, which she mostly had just used it on the offensive side of the floor. So I think she's doing a great job of really trying to learn how to defend, you know, rather than just being a fast little bugger. You know, she's actually reading defenses and angles and different things and being much more aggressive, which we love.
Great. Thank you, Coach.
Of course.